All right, let's see how we did. The first thing I want you to notice in that one on the left is that you are subtracting a negative. And anytime you're subtracting a negative, you need to change that into a positive sign. Okay, you don't want to deal with those two negatives because it's going to end up becoming positive 2 anyway. Now, if you did that somewhere through the problem, then don't erase it. But that's going to be a shortcut for you if you'll go ahead and just change that. So as far as the order of operations are concerned, what's the first thing we're going to do? In the top? Exponent. So we're going to do this first. What's the first thing in the bottom? Negative 6 plus 4, right? In the bottom?
Oh, yeah.
All right, so we got negative 3 plus 25 plus 2. And in the bottom, we're going to have negative 6 plus 4. What is negative 6? And then I add 4 to it. Negative 2, good. Minus 2. All right, what's the next thing I do in the top?
Negative 3 plus.
Perfect. And then in the bottom, we just have one more thing to do. So that'll be the next step down there. So if I have $25 and I have to pay out 3, how much is left? 22, good. And then you're going to add 2 to that. And then if I'm at negative 2 and then I go 2 more in the hole, how much am I in the hole for? Negative 2 minus 2. Negative 4, good. All right, what does the top give me?
24.
Good. And I'm going to divide that by negative 4. A positive divided by a negative makes it what? Negative. If they're opposite sign, always negative. All right. And then 24 divided by 4 is 6. So we should have gotten negative 6. If that's not what you got, please go fix it. And if that is what you got, kudos. Good job. Questions? All right. Now this other one has bigger numbers. That's why I kind of was stopping you before you got too far along. I didn't want you to get caught up in the big numbers. All right. So over here, I've got 2 sets of parentheses in the top. Can I do those at the same time?
No.
Yes.
You can. Only because they're being multiplied anyway. So 9 plus 8. 17. And 22 minus 2. 20. All right. In the bottom, 8 squared. 8 times 8, 64. Good. Minus 30. All right. 17 times 20 is 340. What is 64 minus 30? 34. So if I'm doing 340 divided by 34,
10 over 1.
just 10. Good. Yep. Questions? All right. I think we've got one more page of notes, and then we're going to get on our computers and work. All right, so this one involves absolute value. Absolute value are the symbols that look like this, okay? You can have as many or as few things as you want in between, but eventually you've got to get down to where you have one number. All right, so this is going across the top. If I ask you what the absolute value of 1 is, what's that answer? 1. All right, what's the absolute value of negative 3? Positive 3. All right, if I'm writing, you should be too. All right, what if I had 2 minus 7? Absolute value of 2 minus 7. And I encourage you to make these absolute values just a little bit wider because sometimes they turn into 1s accidentally and they're not 1s, okay? So what do I need to do on the inside, okay? So these kind of act like parentheses. So that's the word that goes here, just like parentheses. But they make positive answers. All right, they work just like parentheses, but they end up giving you positive answers always. All right, so if I have the absolute value, what is 2 minus 7?
5.
Negative 5, right? And then when I take the absolute value, that gives me the 5. Okay, so that will be an answer to that. Now, the only time these can result in a negative is if you have a negative on the outside. So if I had a negative on the outside and it's a negative 17. All right, this outside negative stays. That one has nothing to do with the absolute value. That's just like negative 1 times that absolute value. So now what is the absolute value of 17?
Negative 17.
Well, this is 17, and then that negative is still there. So the answer is negative 17. Questions? All right, let's do this first one together. And you do treat the absolute value just like parentheses, but I'm going to bold them out and make them a little bit longer. I don't want to accidentally think that's a 12 raised to the 4th power. So I keep my negative 3 out front. Now my question is, what's that operation between 3 and what is left? Multiply. Good. All right, so I have absolute value. Now inside of there, what am I going to do first?
No.
Parentheses first, right? Okay, so I'm going to have 2 to the 4th. The negative sign is there, what goes in the parenthesis. 5 plus 4? 9, good. And then the squared is still there, and the absolute value, of course, is still there. Now, still inside absolute value, 2 to the 4th power. So 2 times 2 is 4, so I've got that 4 times.
It's 16.
16, okay, good. Minus, and then I have 9 squared. 9 times 9?
81.
81, good. Everybody good to hear? Okay, so I've still got negative 3 out here. Now, 81 minus 16. Because it says 16 minus 81, but they're opposite signs. So I have to subtract. 81 minus 16.
75.
How much?
75.
65. Yep. Negative 65, because 81's bigger and it has a negative symbol. You all are going to use Desmos, and that's perfectly fine. All right, so now I've still got this negative 3 out front. What is the absolute value of negative 65? 65, and I'm multiplying that. All right, so a negative times a positive makes it what? Negative, good. And then I end up with negative 195 for my final answer. Questions? Everybody good? Let's try this one. You all try this one, and then we'll go over it together. So for this problem, what are we going to do first? What are we going to do first?
Explain.
Inside the absolute value, I go inside the parenthesis, and I can do those 2 exponents, yes? All right, so I've recopied the rest of it. Can I go ahead and do this one too?
Yeah.
You can, because it's being added. So 3 squared is what?
9.
9. 5 squared is what? 25. And 6 squared is what? 36. Good. All right, where do I go next?
The parentheses still 25 minus 36.
Which is?
Oh, negative 11.
Then I have still inside the absolute values. 9 minus 11 is what?
Negative 2.
And it's inside the absolute value still. All right, you can't do anything with that until you get all the way down to one number inside there. All right, so then I have 2 minus 4. Now, that's a mistake that a bunch of kids will make. You'll want to make those 2 go together, but you can't. All right, because this is being multiplied, and I've got to deal with the absolute value. So what is the absolute value of negative 2?
2. So it's
Positive 2. So this is 2 minus what?
8.
8. So the answer is not negative 4. It should be negative 6.
Oh, I got that.
Now, go find a mistake if you made one and make sure you fix it. Desmos, I just don't want you to have Desmos while I'm trying to teach you because you don't pay attention. Okay, so on practice A, what's the first thing we're going to do? Inside parentheses, inside, of course, the absolute value. So we have 32 minus 3. And remember, this is 32 minus 3. That's going to be one of the very last things you do. One of the very last things you do. Okay, so we have absolute value 2 minus 7. And what am I multiplying 7 by?
3.
3. All right, so I'm still inside that absolute value, and what is my next step?
730.
7 times 3. So everything else remains. I still have 32 minus 3. Absolute value is still there, and 2 is still there. What's 7 times 3?
21.
21, and I'm subtracting that, so minus 21. Still have my absolute values because I haven't done that yet.
So
All right?
you still do stuff inside.
I'm sorry.
So you still do whatever's inside.
Yes, you still have to stay inside there. So 2 minus 21 is what?
Negative 19.
Negative 19. What's the absolute value of negative 19?
19.
Positive 19. So that is what operation? What goes between the 3 and the 19?
Parentheses or is it or dollar?
Parentheses or multiplication. It doesn't matter to me which one you use. So now you have to multiply. So this is 32 minus 57. So what is that?
Negative 25.
Negative 25. If you made a mistake, please fix it. If you have a question, please ask. Everybody good? All right, when we tried on B, where do we start? Because this one looks very, very similar to the one we just did. So the steps are going to parallel each other. So what goes first?
Inside the absolute value.
So I have 44 minus 2, and again, that's going to be the last step you do. I have 6 minus 9, and what am I multiplying 9 by?
5.
5. Then I'm going to go to this multiplication inside. I have 44 minus 2. I have 6. And then 9 times 5 is what? 45, and I'm subtracting it. What's 45 minus 6?
Negative 39.
And then we change negative 39. The absolute value of that would be what?
Positive 39.
Positive 39. So you have 44 minus 2 times 39 again. What is 2 times 39?
78.
78. And 44 minus 78?
Negative 34.
Negative 34. Questions? All right.